All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Kwadash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth, and a sincere peace, blessings, and salutations to your Hakim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his knowledge and truth and his sincerity. It's the brother Barzal from the GMS Arizona camp, Lord will, with another quick lesson to edify. All right, and I was just doing some reading, going through the first book of Maccabees, or first Maccabees, reading a few chapters. I just thought I'd flip on, the recorder and do a quick hit on first, second, third, maybe grab a little bit of verses out of those chapters in first Maccabees, because I get charged up reading about the Maccabees and their stories, the battles that they went through, but mainly the spirit, all right, that Maccabean spirit that they were in, the way that they were valiant, the way that they were bold in the battles, their approach. And, I love that, in the first few chapters, they go and to the Most High, how about Shai, every time they were facing the battle, they went to go pray. They went to the Lord to say, hey, if it be your will, you be with us, all right, and deliver the heathen into our hands. And that's exactly what the Lord was doing, because in most of those battles, in all of those battles, in the first few chapters, they was heavily outnumbered, but the Lord made a way for them to overcome each and every time. And that's motivation. That's the spirit that we need to be in going into these times of Jacob's trouble, the times of great tribulation, where we're going to be tried, we're going to be tested. The hour of temptation is going to be upon us, and we're going to have to draw from that spirit, that spirit of valiance, that spirit of being brave, that spirit of putting it all in the hands of Yahweh Shai and depending upon our faith, even unto death. All right, because that's the level of faith that's going to be required going into these times. This is Revelations 2:10. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer, because we're going to suffer in these last days. This devil is planning to come down with great wrath, all right, pursuant to Revelations 12, verse 12. So we're going to suffer, but we're not to fear those things that we're going to suffer. We're just keeping our eyes on the prize, staying focused on endurance, enduring whatever it is that the Lord sets before us, and praying that he makes a way for us to overcome. It says, behold, the devil will cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. That's just a certain period of time. Okay, so when this devil comes down with wrath and he starts throwing people into these internment camps, some of us are going to get caught up in that. But the Lord is going to be with us. It says, be thou faithful unto death, meaning what? Some of us are going to face death. All right, but it's about our approach to it. It's about, in that moment, are we going to be valiant? And if death is staring us in the face, are we still going to be faithful to Yahweh Shem Shai? It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. We want to be faithful unto death. Even if we get put to death for the name of Yahweh Shem Shai, that means we still win. Then we get a crown of life. All right, and that's ultimately the spirit that, when you read about when Judas was appointed captain, that's the spirit that he was in. Okay, this is the spirit of our forefathers. This is the faithfulness that they had Let's get that real quick. Then we'll go to chapter 2. So first Maccabees. And I got my Apocrypha here. I'm not going to pull it up on the screen. This is first Maccabees. I'm going to start at verse... let me go to... Slovakia. We're going to jump in the first chapter. I'm going to start at verse 41. But before we do that, I want to get the word. I had a word here pulled up for valiant. All right. So the word valiant says possessing or showing courage or determination. All right. We're determined, okay, to let no man take our crown. All right. To finish the race, to make our calling and election sure. You know, we want to be numbered amongst the 144,000, part of the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven. We want deliverance. We want salvation. Okay, we want to be joint heirs with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So, in order to get there, we're going to have to possess or show courage and determination when this devil comes down with that great wrath. So, nothing new is under the sun. You know, First Maccabees 1 and 41, it says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people and every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agree according to the commandment of the king. And that's exactly what these devils is doing today in their new world order. They're trying to bring everybody under one umbrella, a one world government that they control. And they want to enforce their way upon the people. And they're going to do that through their MARK, which is the charagma, which is the electronic grain of rice. All right. It says, for the king has sent letters. This is verse 40. We'll go to verse 42. It says, and everyone shall leave his law. So all the heathen agree according to the commandment of the king. Verse 43 says, yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings and in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. And this is nothing different than what this devil is ultimately trying to coerce you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to do today by taking that charagma. All right. It says, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. You see, these devils want you to be like them. They want you to follow after their ways, which is ultimately getting you to oppose Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. It says, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. In the selfsame manner, he wrote to his whole kingdom and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, and whensoever they could flee for succor, now they could flee for succor. Salakio. It says, now the 15th day of the month, Caslu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar and built idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of the houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And wheresoever was found with any book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should be put to death. It says, thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. Now the 25th day of the month they did sacrifice upon the altar, which was upon the altar of the Most High, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. And check this out. These devils, man, they got a lot to pay for. It says, and they hanged the infants about their necks and rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. Howbeit many in Israel. See, this devil is going to try to use his muscle, his might. He's going to try to force his way upon people. That's why it says that in Revelations 14:9 that the Lord saw them that were beheaded for the witness and the testimony of Yahweh Shai, roughly paraphrasing. All right, because it's no different. This devil is going to try to use fear and going to try to hang death over your head to enforce his way. See, and that's why, I was saying, like, we got to be in that Maccabean spirit where we're going to say, hey, we gonna die in our innocency. We're going to be faithful unto death. We got to have that spirit. All right, because even though Antiochus was trying to force his way upon these Israelites, they were still circumcising their children. And then this devil went and hanged the children, killed the women, or whoever caused the children to be circumcised, bringing down that great wrath. And he's going to do it even that much more in this time today. All right. But the faithful are going to be delivered. Some of us might get put to death, but the mass majority of us are going to be delivered. All right. It says, howbeit, in verse 62, howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing, wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. And there was very great wrath upon Israel. See, that's going back to Revelation 12, verse 12. And this is all going to happen again. This is what this devil Esau Edom is going to do to the Lord's people once again. Those that fear Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, this devil's going to come down with that wrath. Revelations 12, verse 12, it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. And this devil got all the weapons. He got, the super soldiers. He got, the robots and drones. He got all of these toys. So he feeling himself. He's very prideful, man, but he's underestimating the power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Just like these armies that came up against the Israelites did in past times. So I'm going to get to the point where Mattathias had passed, and he passed the torch to Judas. And Judas was out there going to work. All right. And he was like, look, man, y'all slaying our people and killing our people. And they, because, they came down on Israel on the Sabbath day and slaughtered them. And, Israel mourned. But then Judas, after Mattathias died, Judas was like, look, man, we're going to stand up and fight. And then they start going to work. But real quick, this is First Maccabees 2. And this is verse 50. This was when Mattathias was getting ready to die. And he was saying this to his sons. It says, First Maccabees 2:50, it says, now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. See? This is a thing where, hey, we're making our bodies a living sacrifice. All right. And we want to be faithful unto death. All right. It says, verse 51, call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt. Phineas, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Yahushua, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. Elias, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. Ananias, Azarias, and Misael, by believing, were saved out of the flame. These are all, examples, okay, again, that we can draw from of our forefathers being merciful and keeping the faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, in the face of temptation, in the face of a trial, in the face of, the trial of their faith, overcoming, you see, and the Lord delivered them. You see, it says, Ananias, Azarias, and Misael, by believing, were saved out of the flame. Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. It says, fear not the words of a sinful man. This devil is going to come with threats, and, talking about he going to do this. And, he might threaten your family, your loved ones, threaten you in your life. That's why, we got to be willing to put our lives on the line for this truth. That's what our forefathers did, and it turned out well for them. And the same thing is going to be the outcome for us. It says, fear not then the words of a sinful man. This is verse 62. For his glory shall be dung and worms. All right, because ultimately this devil's going to fall, and he's going to go from the top to the bottom, and he's going to be at the bottom in the kingdom of heaven. We're going to do Esau, Edom the worst. It says, today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned unto his dust, and his thought is come to nothing. It says, wherefore, ye my sons, be valiant, there's that word valiant again, and shew yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall ye obtain glory. And now this time, it's through faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai that we're going to obtain that glory. All right. Now we follow the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability, but it's faith in the blood of Yahushai that's going to get us through. Now, the next thing I want to get, and I'm going to close on, because this is what we got to remember going into this time where this devil is going to have, it's going to seem as though he got the power. But at the end of the day, our strength comes from the Lord. Let me see. I'm going to get... All right, this is third chapter, First Maccabees 3. And I'm going to start at verse 18. It says, unto whom Judas answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few. All right, because they was getting ready to go into battle, and they were outnumbered. It says, and with the Most High of heaven, it is all one to deliver with a great multitude or a small company. It says, for the victory of the battle standeth not in the multitude of an host, but strength cometh from heaven. All right. These are things that we got to remember going into these times, that no matter how bleak or dark the outlook is, when we see this devil coming in like a flood upon those that fear the Lord, and it look like he got the numbers and he got the strength, our strength coming from heaven. All right. It says they come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us. Isn't that what this devil getting ready to do? He been working on his technology, his army, and super soldiers to try and destroy Israel. And it says they come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us and our wives and children and to spoil us. Verse 21 says, but we fight for our lives and our laws. Wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be ye not afraid of them. So again, I can keep reading on this. It's a whole lot. But I just wanted to get a few little, parts. Because hey, the Maccabees, that Maccabean spirit, man, is no joke. But they were brave, they were valiant men, and they were going up to fight. But they would turn to the Lord for, in prayer, and pray to the Lord for the strength that they needed to win the battle. And that's exactly what we got to do going into these times, because we see that the MOTB is right at the door. More and more people are starting to see it. So the hour of temptation is near. So all of these things that we read about, Revelations 2 and 10, Revelations 3 and 10, that we will be cast into prison. And, some of us will get put to death for the witness of Yahweh Shai, and for not taking the MARK. Well, these things are about to become a reality. And, again, things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. We can draw motivation. We can draw faith from reading these stories of old about our forefathers being brave, valiant men in the face of adversity. All right. And that's the same thing that the spirit we must take on going into these times, because when that moment comes, we should think upon these things and draw that fire from the spirit of that they were in, and Lord willing, it gets us through. All right, it gets us through. So anyway, again, just a few thoughts I wanted to share with you, Akim. Lord willing, this was edifying. Until next time, say shalom.